Hey Care Group leaders, we're going to continue our series in the Missio Dei. This is going to be week 7, and we are going to look at a sermon we're calling Racial Integration. We're going to look at Acts chapter 10 and 11, and let me kind of get you thinking about the topic at hand by saying this. And you can ask your folks this question too. Have you ever had a cross-cultural experience? Maybe start out your groups by sharing a story of a time when you went on a mission trip or a business trip or any kind of trip that you had to step out of your country or your culture or maybe your language and interact with a completely different culture. So what were some of the similarities and differences? How did you change through that experience? When you came back home, how did your view of home change? I can remember for both me and my wife, we went on mission trips when we were younger, and when we came back, we both had kind of this deep takeaway of, after walking through slums and ministering to people who are the poorest of the poor in the world, it was almost a disgust at the excess of our culture, walking through the mall and seeing, the next latest phone and how you have to have it. And I'm all for free market capitalism, all for wealth and building businesses and fulfilling the cultural mandate, but it certainly was an impact on us saying, you know what, because our brothers and sisters in the world are suffering in ways that we don't even contemplate here, we need to be wise, we need to live simply, we need to be generous with our income. So what were the impact that those trips, those experiences had on you and your people? Great way for you guys to get to know one another a little bit better as you launch into this topic. So read through Acts 10, starting at verse 34 into Acts 11 and ending in verse 17. This is a story of Peter going to Cornelius, the Holy Spirit filling the Gentiles. The Gentiles now are brought into the church. It's a massive change in the life of the church that impacts all of us. And so at the end of the story, Peter says this. He says, who was I that I could stand in God's way? If God is saving them and God is filling them with the Holy Spirit, I don't want to get in the way of that. So then, guys, to apply the message, let's think through if God's heart is to show no partiality, if God's heart is to create a church of all cultures, what way might we intentionally or unintentionally get in the way of that? So I want you to think this through, and I want you leaders to apply this to yourself first and then to ask your people. And it is this question: how might we be tempted to show partiality in our groups, in our interactions with people in our community, those at church? Do we show partiality based on education, on income, on success, on title, on ethnicity, on personality? Because the truth is, there's this natural homogeny principle, which means we drift towards those who are like us. Same age, same race, same ethnicity, same income level, same education level. And because that is just the way it is based on human nature, how can we, by being filled with the Spirit, put on God's mission, actively fight against the homogeny principle that we see at work around us? And so, final questions for application. What are some practical ways we can guard our hearts against showing partiality? That we can guard our hearts against seeking comfort in homogeny? And then how can we labor for a more diverse church? So take some time, apply it to your heart, encourage your people to think it through as well. I think there's a lot of good stuff that can come from this interaction. So as always, we love you guys. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday.